Hello, good evening, people of Edo State, friends of Edo State, Nigerians, and viewers across the world. It is my esteemed honor and privilege to welcome you all to the first of the series of Zoom meetings we shall be having with the governor of Edo State, Governor Godwin Obaseki. In a short while, we shall be hearing from His Excellency as the governor is set to unveil his manifesto, which his campaign has titled MEGA, which means Make Edo Great Again. Meanwhile, permit me to inform you that this event was put together, packaged by the Governor Godwin Obaseki Joint Campaign Coalition, comprising of distinguished Edo State indigents across the globe. I am Comrade Lamte Ikmonwusa Oriahi. That hasn't changed. Whenever it does, be sure I'm going to let you know. I live in the United Kingdom, and I am your host tonight. Joining me to anchor this program is an erudite woman, a great woman, a woman who represents the culture of the Edo land very well in the diaspora. As a matter of fact, this great woman is the Edo Cultural Ambassador to Canada, and her name is Mrs. Isoken Ibie, all the way from Toronto. Isoken, please.
Thank you so much, Brother Lampton Ikmonwusa. I am so excited to be hosting this event with you. I know Brother Lampton did not do much, but I'm just going to quickly touch on some of his accolades. He is a political commentator, activist, filmmaker, and the chair Nigerian community in Newcastle. So it's a pleasure, and it's going to be an exciting evening.
Most pleasurable. I am excited. Isoken is very much excited, no doubt, and I'm sure if you are live with us, you must be excited. To help us do justice to this program are some carefully selected panelists who are respectable Edo State indigenes drawn from varying walks of life. These Edolites of impeccable character will be asking the governor of Edo State those salient questions that Edos and people of Nigeria want to get clarity and assurance on. Beyond that, we shall be taking questions randomly from the participants in the audience. Before the panelists are introduced by my co-hosts, allow me to take you through some of the rules of engagement guiding us tonight. We expect everyone to be civil and polite in their questions. No question should exceed 2 minutes. To ask a question, all you simply need to do is to raise your Zoom hand. And if you are selected, you will be unmuted. Meanwhile, you can also send in questions through the chat box. It is also within our prerogative in the course of this program to log anyone out, anyone we consider to be unruly or act in contravenance against the rules of engagement that is guiding us in this program tonight. Importantly, I wish to let everyone know that we are also live on Facebook and many other social media platforms. If you are already live with us on social media, please do well to share the broadcast as widely as you can, because we intend to ensure that we hold the entire globe to a standstill for the governor of Edo State. I will now hand over you to Ambassador Mrs. Isoken Ibie from Canada as she takes us through introductory process of the members of the panel. Mrs. Isoken Ibie.
Thank you so much, Comrade Lampton Ikmonwusa. So our first panelist today is Mrs. Adesua Obasoha. Mrs. Adesua Obasoha is the Women Affairs Coordinator, ENAW, and the founder, Edo Diaspora Women for GEO. Our next is Bobby Obayuwana, Comrade Bobby Obayuwana. Comrade Bobby Obayuwana is a political youth activist and alumni of the University of Benin. The next is Chief Ambassador Matthew Bilki Uwaifo. Ambassador Matthew Bilki Uwaifo is an ambassador to the East, Central, and South African Bar Association, and he is based in Tanzania. The next is High Chief Musa Amedu. Musa Amedu is the president, Edo Support and Edo Diaspora Group in the UK. And the last but not the least is Professor Issa Odidi. Professor Issa Odidi is the CEO and Chief Scientist Officer, Intel Informatics, presidential candidate 2007 presidential election in Nigeria. He's also based in Toronto, Canada.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Isoken, for taking us through this process. It is now time, very quickly, for us to hear from His Excellency, the Governor of Edo State. We are going straight to Mega, as it is rightly put, for the Excellency to unveil, his manifesto to Edos and Nigerians across the world. Now, it is my singular honor to bring on board, introducing the Governor of Edo State, Governor Godwin Nogegase Obaseki. Sir, you are welcome to the program. Your Excellency.
Unmute your mic, please.
Yeah, can we unmute His Excellency's mic? Joe, you can do that, please, if you can locate him.
Thank you very much. It's indeed a pleasure to be here this evening to address all of you. I am indeed very happy that I am tonight talking to a network of Edo sons and daughters and their friends from across the globe. I want to thank the team that has put this event together. I'm truly, really proud of you, and I want to express my sincere appreciation and gratitude. Because this is a timed event, what I would like to do, if you do not mind, is to read my manifesto. I haven't had the opportunity of reading it in full. When it was unveiled during my kickoff rally, I had to talk through it. But my preference will be to just spend the next 10 to 15 minutes reading the manifesto so that we do not leave anything out. In my quest for office as governor of Edo State in 2016, Nigeria was going through a recession, just like it is going through a COVID-stimulated recession today. So when I came in 2016, the goal for me at that point was to arrest the economic storm which we were going through, and to ensure that we put together the basis for governance in the state, such that the state could meet its contractual obligations to employees, pensioners, and its other contractors. Development of the state. As I stated then in 2016, my manifesto at that time was titled the Edo State Road Development Plan. Just as I did 4 years ago, today, my plan is to continue to spearhead the transformation which is required to pull our people out of poverty and seek to achieve prosperity for all our people without exception. The mission I started in 2016 has not changed today. In fact, it has become more compelling in the wake of the outbreak of COVID-19, which, as you all know, has changed the world and created what we now describe as the new normal. In 2016, I urged all of us that let's go together, let's go further together and galvanize our latent democratic institutions to provide world-class governance for the common good of our people, so that we can build the Edo of our dream. We believe as a people that our forebears centuries ago built enduring political, social, and cultural institutions. Why can we not today enact our own dreams, our own visions, and our expectations? Our history and our heritage beckons on all of us as a people, and it is the responsibility of a leader to respond to the challenges and opportunities which are entailed in realizing people's vision. Today is the dawn of a new era as we prepare for the post-COVID world, where it looks that like everything has now been reset, and we are now compelled to change the way we live, interact, and even produce. Therefore, we must set out to consolidate the project of building a new Edo state where true democracy thrives, where there is equality of opportunity and access, and where we have to put an end to the corrupt privileges, arbitrariness, and impunity of a few. This election is about the promise of Edo. It is not just about what Governor Obaseki and the PDP have to offer Edo State. It is about how the expressions of the hopes and dreams of our people will redefine a new Nigeria. It is about the fundamentals of democracy, whether power belongs to the people or has been hijacked by a few godfathers who wish to take us backwards instead of forwards. This election will reject the broom that does not serve the purpose of cleaning up the fields. That broom in Edo is already scattered, and this election will not support any attempt to pick up its pieces together. Edo people are very enlightened, like all of you know, and they are more politically savvy than politicians generally give you credit for. If you recall, the last 4 general elections have clearly demonstrated the sophistication of Edo people. In the last 4 general elections, the PDP won the general elections. Whereas in the last 4 local elections, APC won the local elections. So the people know what they want, and they know where to pitch their tents politically. Because I believe, like the Latin would say, vox populi, vox Dei, that the voice of the people is the voice of God. Our actions, programs, and policies will continue to be determined and directed by the wishes of our people. The PDP massive mobilization machine will take our message to every voter and even non-voters like you in every household, every political unit, ward, and local government, and across the media mix in our various languages and in Pidgin and English. Our message is one of hope and one of the future. Our motto is Edo State, one people, one dream, one heritage. Our mission is to make Edo great again, mega. And our vision is that before the year 2050, in 30 years' time, Edo will be the best state to live and to prosper in Nigeria. Therefore, what is our mega uh, our mega manifesto? Our mega manifesto is anchored on 6 pillars, and these pillars were not just taken up arbitrarily. They are a build-up from what we have done in the last 4 years. The first pillar is going to be governance reforms, because every system, every institution requires a bureaucracy that will make it function. City Hall functions all over the world because they are a committed group of people who day in, day out, go in there, working through systems and processes to make sure the institutions work. And one of the challenges in Nigeria is that our public service institutions, our governance institutions don't work. And unless we fix government, we fix the engine of government, all our aspirations, all our hopes, all our dreams may never be realized. Therefore, the first pillar is governance reforms, where we are continuing to rebuild the civil service and energize the engine of government for high performance by creating a workforce for the future, by breaking down traditional barriers to service delivery, and by adapting new behaviors and ensuring efficient technology-enabled service delivery. The second pillar is based on a citizen-centric leadership. Leadership must now realize that its sole purpose is the people. So as governor, my principal responsibility is to cater to the people who voted me into office. Therefore, we will provide bold, audacious, responsible, and courageous leadership consisting of thinking through our robust policies before acting. We will deal with integrity, sustainability, and the very best interest of our people all the time. We will continue to prioritize public purpose, develop broad-based common goods, which should take precedence over crude private gains and tendencies. We will cater for the current and pressing needs of our people, while also taking a long-term view of a brighter future, because tomorrow must come. During my first time, I placed emphasis on education through Edo Best. We will now continue with our educational reforms and extend the reforms to the other tiers of the educational system. We will now cascade the reforms to all other levels, the junior secondary schools, the senior secondary schools, our technical schools, and our other institutions of higher learning. We, in my second term, will prioritize healthcare, because one of the lessons of COVID-19 is that we were all hit by a global pandemic, which made it difficult or impossible for people to travel for care outside of home. And the lesson from that experience is that we must fix our own healthcare system. And thank God, with what we've done in the last 4 months or so, we've laid the basis for a transformed healthcare system in Edo State. A blueprint containing all our plans will be captured in a detailed and integrated roadmap for the future of Edo State, which is the Edo 30-year development plan. That is in the works as we speak. The third pillar is that government must now be restructured to be an enabler. We want to move from an era where government competes with its citizens. Government's role should be to enable its citizens realize their ambitions and realize their hopes. So we are restructuring government to support and digitally enable and enhance the conducive business environment and support people in their enterprises and their endeavors. Government will now begin to think like a partner and promote public-private partnerships and move away from the mindset that there is nothing wrong for government to support its citizens to be wealthy, to create wealth. They will never, they will never overcome government. Therefore, we will continue to consolidate and enhance state signature initiatives, which we have started, by using state systems, policies, and institutions to help create jobs for our people, strengthening Edo jobs. We will continue to invest in creative hubs for our young people to have avenues that will reduce their cost of entering into businesses. We will continue to develop mechanisms to ensure that our citizens have easy access to cheap funding for their businesses. The fourth pillar will be based on technology and a data-driven governance. As you know, the whole world is moving into a digital platform. We have commenced the digital revolution of Edo State. We are proud to say that as of today, Benin City is the most digitally connected city in Nigeria, having successfully laid over 400 kilometers of fiber across a city. Once we energize the city with electricity, we believe that we will be very, very competitive in providing technology, services, and using the infrastructure we have created to make Edo State a technology hub. The fifth pillar will be for us to now think bold and big about our economy. Yes, today the economic space is dominated by small businesses, but we have come to the realization that the greatness of Edo is not in only its hydrocarbon assets, its oil and gas. Its greatness is based on its land. Therefore, we will be working much harder than we have in the last 4 years to make Edo State the agribusiness hub of Nigeria, ensuring that we have food sufficiency for consumption and also as industrial raw materials. Our strategy will be to grow local production and consumption. The available gas in Edo State, particularly around the Ologbo axis, will be used to generate more electricity. We've done another electricity transaction on the back of the Azura plant, the Osiomo generating plant, which is 55 megawatts, which will be expanded to about 200 megawatts. That will be connected in the next fortnight. And with initiatives like this, we believe that with the availability of electricity, we will be able to drive industrialization and make Edo very competitive for factories and production industries to locate. More businesses will be grown from being informal ones to growing to become formal big businesses. Edo should and will become one of the top destinations for businesses, not only in the South-South region, but our aspiration is to be one of the top 3 states for business in Nigeria within the planned period. Our master plan will be to evolve private businesses, to evolve Edo from being a civil service dominated economy to one where thriving businesses, particularly small and medium enterprises, thrive. The last pillar will be to ensure that we build a physical and digital infrastructure while we are sustaining our environment. We have reformed our land administration by introducing GIS, but that is not enough. Land use and land management will continue to be emphasized while we expand the GIS to cover all areas, because we cannot plan for 30 years without adequate data and information. And information as to our physical space will be obtained from the existing investments we are making. We are a national transportation hub, and therefore traffic management and transportation management in our master plan will be emphasized. The whole country passes through Edo, so we need to make the transportation system a lot more efficient. Not only the road networks, but we must be thinking of investing the rail networks and ensure that Edo is a hub. We have to decongest our city centers. We have to create more cities. We have to reduce reduce the reduce the impact of rapid urbanizations, where over 50% of our population live in 2 or 3 cities in the state. We must ensure that while we are undertaking economic activities, we respect our environment. We have to reverse the rapid deforestation which has now taken over our states. We have started, we have legislated forest lands, and next 4 years, we will be attracting investments to try and regrow our forests and respect our environment for the sake of the next generation. What we have done in the last 4 years is to establish a track record to focus on what is necessary, what is important for our people. We must have a responsible government, without which we cannot discharge our functions. We have paid salaries promptly and pensions, and we have paid our contractors to be on site, to keep working on our projects. And we believe that with the mega manifesto which we're unveiling, the next 4 years will lay a solid foundation for Edo of the next generation. The next 4 years, in the next 4 years, we would have laid the basis, all the elements which I, as a governor, missed. I came into government and there was no plan, there was no roadmap. One of the legacies I hope to leave by the time I finish my second term is that there will be a clear roadmap, a clear direction, a clear compass as to where Edo will be headed and how Edo will get to where we expect it to be by the year 2050. I want to thank you for listening, and I hope we'll have a lively discussion thereon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Excellency. We'll be going straight to our panelists because they do have questions for you. And our first panelist that will be coming on board is Mrs. Adesua Obasohan. She has a question for you.
Can you unmute yourself, Mr. Obasohan? Just 1 second.
Mr. Adesua, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, you can unmute yourself, Mr. Adesua. We can't hear you.
That's it.
Okay. Good evening, His Excellency, and thank you for being with us this evening. Thank you for all you have been doing for Edo State. Our first question is, with the recent events, many are expressing fears that the coming elections will be marred by violence. As the Chief Security Officer of the state, what measures are you and your team putting in place to instill confidence in the electorate and make them feel safe to exercise their franchise? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. It is really unfortunate what has happened, the occurrences of the last—
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
The occurrences of the last few weeks have been really unfortunate. It addresses the core issues that we've been trying to deal with in Edo State, which is how do we eliminate thuggery and hooliganism from our streets. As you would have heard, The thugs are now in high demand. Those who do not have programs to sell to the people believe that they could use intimidation and propaganda and lies to change the course of what will happen. But as you know, that will not be possible. As a chief security officer of the state and also a contestant, I have been trying to strike a careful balance. We have the instrument of states. We have spoken to the various law enforcement agencies. And because I am also a contestant, I don't want to be accused of using undue political state power to oppress and intimidate the fellow contestants. But we have sent out sufficient warnings that this level of hooliganism and vandalism must stop. It is not proper good conduct for you to send out thugs to tear up the banners and posters of your opponents. It is very bad political behavior when you begin to smash cars of the cars that contain stickers of your opponents. We have decided as government to act responsibly and to also respect human rights. However, the instruments of states exist. We have restructured the security architecture of Edo State, right from the wards where we have public work volunteers and vigilantes, through to the local governments where you have police divisional officers. By the way, we've introduced community policing, and up to the state level where we have not only police, but we have the Directorate of State Security and even the military. If we have to deploy these instruments of state to maintain law and order, we will do so. And the courts are, back in session, are coming back, will come back in session. We have been reluctant to try and get more convictions because of COVID-19. We've been trying to decongest the prisons, but if we have to maintain law and order, then we'll have to do what we need to do as a government.
Yeah, thank you very much, Your Excellency. That's quite incisive. We're gonna go straight to the next member of the panel, and the next person to come on board actually is Comrade Bobby Obayuwana. Please, could you unmute yourself? And I want to quickly state this just before Comrade Bobby comes on, that please, if you know you are in this room and you are on with two devices, please put one off because it's interfering with the flow of the meeting. Comrade, please. Comrade Obayuwana.
Good evening, Your Excellency. Good evening, House. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Good evening, Your Excellency. Good evening, House. First of all, I want to appreciate the opportunity given to me to represent the youths and the good people of Edo State. Just a quick one, Your Excellency. I have two questions here. And the first one is, Your Excellency, sir, with your full knowledge of the Not Too Young to Run Act that has been endorsed by both President Muhammadu Buhari
I think we may be having issues with his network. Mr. Obayuwana, can you still hear us?
Yeah, maybe we should take on your next question.
Okay. Yes, I think
we'll take him later when his network stabilizes.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Well, we'll just go straight to the next panelist on board. And this next panelist is Ambassador Matthew Bike Uwaifo. Please, can we unmute him? Ambassador Matthew Bike Uwaifo. Can you hear me, sir? Ambassador Matthew Biki Uwaifo, can you hear me? Please, backroom staff, can we locate him and unmute him in case he's...
Yes, he's on.
Yes.
Mr. Wifo, can you
I can
unmute
hear
him?
you.
Okay,
That's
great,
good.
sir.
Yes, I
Please,
can
nice
hear
to have
you.
you on
Yes.
board, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, Your Excellency. All the way from Tanzania. It's with great joy to have you on this program. And just to say thank you for the excellent job you have done to make all Edolites proud worldwide. Now, my question is this. The election coming up September 19, 2020, we know already, and we have the firm faith emanating from our God that you will win that election. So my question is this: what measures are you putting in place when the result is declared and the opposition decide to go into a lot of bloodletting of innocent Edolites? What measures are you putting in place to make sure that stability takes place? That is my first question. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Yeah, it's of concern to us that in their desperation, the people will throw all caution to the wind and, resort to all sorts of, barbaric reactions. But our belief, our faith is that we are clearly in the majority. We are not going to win the elections marginally. We are going to win landslide because the feedback, the polls, the reaction on the street show that what we are doing is what Edo people want. So I don't see how the minority can physically overturn the wishes of the majority and also subdue the majority physically. Edo people are bold. Edo people are not cowards. We know them, we live with them, and we just hope and pray that they don't get to that extent. Because should they do, it will be really sad, but they will pay. They will pay, like you've seen all over the continent. Those who would resort to bloodletting of innocent persons will pay dearly, because the international community is being called upon to come and observe the elections. And I expect all of you all over the world to also raise that cry that the federal government must ensure that it secures the lives, properties, and the votes of the people of Edo State.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Isoken, please, can you come on board, man?
Yes. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I'm going straight on now to the next panelist, and that's High Chief Musa Amedu, all the way from the UK.
Please, backroom staff, can we locate him and unmute him if he's muted?
Musa Amedu, please unmute yourself.
Can you unmute yourself, Musa?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
First, I want to say congratulations to the organizers of this program. I'm happy I'm part of what is great for Edo people. To you, the governor, you are doing great. I'm happy. I don't want to expose me as a person who knows you, but I'm happy you're doing something great. But there's one question. You must also give me permission to speak as an Ishaman. Why so? Because we are suffering in a way. And that's why this question is of interest to me and the Ishan people and Edo in general. It has to do with security. Question: the Hausa Fulani encroachment issue is on the increase. And in recent times, there are claims of people still being attacked at a higher level. And at the same time, the side effect of this is that the destruction of our farm produce have made it impossible for our farmers to go to the farm and continue their farming activities. My question, therefore, Your Excellency, is this. How is your government addressing this territorial infringement in Edo State as we speak? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me try and dimension the crisis as it relates to herdsmen and banditry. What we have noticed that because there are two issues here. There's an issue of people looking for grazing land, and it's been over the last century or centuries, you've had people come during the dry season to graze and take their cattle back. Because of environmental pressures, you're seeing much more desperation and increase. We also we're also witnessing a situation where there's also pressure on our own land because of increasing population. So areas people never used to go and farm in the past, they now go into those areas to farm, and some of those areas are along those grazing paths, which existed even before we were born, and that is leading to conflicts. Those conflicts there's always been mechanisms to resolve them. So not every House of Fulani who brings herd here is a bandit. In fact, what is interesting is that most of our, quite a lot of our people invest in this cattle and employ some of them to help them to graze the cattle for fattening. The second issue, so those issues are perennial and they are being resolved because traditionally when the herdsmen, the real herdsmen come in, they normally go to the community leader or the traditional chief before they even, they're allowed into those communities. There's a second issue which is more serious, which is that of banditry. Because of all the crises from the north, from the Sahel, you now find young men in the name of being herdsmen carrying AK-47s and very sophisticated equipment with which they come in to kidnap, to maim, and to create instability in our parts of the country. It's a challenge nationwide, and we are trying to respond as best we can. And the response we have adopted is to try and organize our people at the local level, organize the vigilantes, organize the hunters. I'm investing in a new corps of forest rangers who can go into the forest and give us information. Key to crime is intelligence. So as a state, we have put in place a system where we can collect and information and intelligence based on which we can now respond. As a state governor, I don't have an army. I don't have a police of my own. I don't, even the security agencies and outfits I've created cannot bear arms. So what we are doing, our response is to get enough intelligence, get enough information to work with the federal security agencies that bear arms to help us respond. We are also using technology, procuring drones, working with the Air Force to do aerial surveillance of the forests where some of these people reside and keep their arms, and also tracking devices to track these calls they make, particularly when they kidnap. It's a problem, it requires investments. We are doing the best we can, but over the next 4 years, I believe that now that we understand quite a lot of how they operate and what is going on, we should be able to respond better.
Yes,
thank you so much, My Excellency. I will be going straight to our next panelist, and that is Professor Issa Odidi.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Your Excellency. And I'd like to congratulate the organizers of this meeting. I think they've done a very great job. I'm impressed. Well done. Also very impressed with the mega manifesto. However, I have two questions for Your Excellency. As an industrialist with operations in several G7 countries, I'm very interested in the governor's quest to make Edo State the economic hub of Nigeria. Your Excellency, what specific sectors are you targeting, and how do you intend to implement this loud? So that's the first question. The second question, Can His Excellency please summarize his plans to prepare children, women, and youths in Edo State for future challenges and opportunities? Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Prof. Yes, in terms of specific sectors for industrialization, what we have done is to first get the core infrastructure required, which is electricity. And so we will be one of the cheapest sources of electricity because we're generating, the fields are there. And as of today, our cost is quite globally competitive. We're hoping that we can drop our electricity cost to as low as 8 cents per kilowatt hour. Therefore, now that you have power, what are you going to do with it? For us, we want to focus on the areas of rapid growth, which is agriculture, food processing, agribusiness. Because one of the lessons of this COVID is that we were all locked down, we're all at home, but we all had to eat. And there's, so our food import bill in Nigeria is in excess of $20 billion a year. I mean, most of what we import, if not all, can be processed and produced locally. I mean, is it, is that staple food? Is it a confectionery? What is it? So we are focusing on agriculture and particularly industries that require agricultural inputs as their base materials. We are investing in the oil palm value chain. Don't forget, that's what Malaysia did many years ago and left us behind. And so we are making quite a lot of land in the first phase available, about 100,000 hectares. We've gotten financing, we can have partners who are interested. We're enabling that to happen. And oil palm is the base product for cosmetics, for food, for edible fats. That is an area of that's going to be a priority. What about cassava? Cassava has a base stock for industrial starch, for ethanol. That is another area of priority. One transaction that we're hoping to close, which we have started on, is textiles. Yes, the federal government, under its cotton transformation program, is encouraging farmers all over the country to grow cotton, but you do not have modern textile mills, weaving, spinning, and yarning mills to produce textiles at a competitive rate, like you do in Asia. And so we've been having conversations. We were almost at the closing point and we ran into a hitch where a major textile company, with all the facilities, was going to relocate its production from China to Benin City and was testing some of the cotton, the local cotton we had. So the areas will be the fast-moving consumer goods, food, clothes, garments, and also areas that will create huge job opportunities. How are we preparing for tomorrow? The key is education. We're very proud of what we have done with Edo Best, where our children, we were moving them from just schooling to learning. So a kid, a 6-year-old child in our Edo Best program today, after 2 terms in our program, can read. And and we found out that under Edo Best, these kids are now learning what they used to learn in 2 years in 1 term. So and it's simple because we can tell when our teachers are in school. We have trained our teachers, we've given them the technology so they can effectively monitor how the children are doing, whether they are learning, and if they are not, what remedies there are. And we're doing this on a scale. We're not, we have 300,000 such children in our school systems today. And I can't wait for them to get to primary 6. And because I can assure you that by the time this generation, graduates from the system we're putting in place, we will reduce drastically agberos in our communities and our society. By the time Edo Best gets to its full steam, we will not produce agberos again, because the people who will go through us who are going through the best educational system will be able to, they will be informed, they'll be able to use technology at a young age. And don't forget, these are in our public school system. And once we escalate that to junior secondary and senior secondary, my goal is that by the time you finish your first 9 years of learning, you should be able to do something with your life. You should be able to have a vocation. Nothing says that you cannot continue, but by the time you're 14, you're 15, you should be able to use your hands, you should be able to read manuals, you should be able to try things. Then you now decide whether to go to, to another 3 years in a secondary school or in a technical school or in a vocational school. And so we are laying the basis. We have the first 4 years has been experimental. We've seen how it will work, how it can work, and what to do. And so I am very hopeful, Prof, that the key is preparing the children at a very early age. If we did this 21 years ago, 1999, when we started our democracy, can you imagine where we'll be today?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your very interesting, incisive, and very hopeful, deposition. We're going to go over to members of the audience. But before we do that, Your Excellency, I have a question. Listening to you, there's so much hope. As a matter of fact, it's not just because you are talking right now. You are one governor that has come to Edo State to arouse the hope of the average Edo man.
And woman.
And yes, average Edo man and woman. That's very correct. And Edos all over the world are beginning to look at a brighter future. But when we juxtapose this to, what has, become the status quo, particularly with our first electionary process, a lot of people are afraid because what we have been used to as a people is that Nigerians and Edos have been made to believe that, the vote of the people don't count because at the end of the day, the people queue, spend time, vote. At the end of the day, what you hear is that some persons who are powerful have gone somewhere with INEC or whatever to go change results. And people are afraid that that may happen at this time, particularly when we are beginning to see excessive use of financial power to buy people over and all that. How do you and your team, and of course your government, intend to checkmate this so that for once we can be very sure that the will of the people is counting and Governor Obaseki is elected by the majority of Edo people?
Well, I would say don't despair. The process has already started. By all of you taking your time off this evening where you could have been doing other things to come in and listen to me, it's because you're really interested and you're concerned and you can do something about it. We have the power to. Evil cannot dominate good. It's when good people don't speak up, when they don't stand for anything, that is what gives evil the force it has and allows evil to thrive. Let's also appreciate the fact that some reforms, it's not as bad as it's painted. Yes, it could be much better, but it is impossible. It's very difficult to rig an election where you are not popular. So in your polling unit, when, if majority of the people go into the polling units and vote for a particular candidate and stand there and wait for their votes to be counted and announced in their polling units, thanks to technology and thanks to the reforms being made by the electoral body, and you now move from your unit where, you have enough people to move from your unit where you have voted and counted your votes to where the votes will be collated and wait for the announcement to be made there. It will be difficult, very difficult. And thanks also to this, the justice system. So I don't think we should despair. What we need to do is to speak up, send the message home, tell our people we cannot be subdued, we cannot be cowed. We cannot be cowed anymore. Evil cannot dominate good. We've suffered enough, And this is the time for us to emancipate ourselves and free ourselves.
Thank you so much, Excellency. You've done an amazing job. We're going now to the audience, and I have seen Omoefe Sightberry. She has her hands up since our back room help. Can you please locate her and get her on?
Sorry?
Omoefe Sightberry.
She doesn't seem to be.
She's not here.
Not here?
No.
Did she log out? I saw her hand.
Omorefe Obaseki.
No, it was Omoefe Sightberry. I don't know if she logged out.
She probably logged out, yeah.
I saw her hand initially.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we take the next hand up, please?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we should take George Osarai. Is George Osarai there? That's another hand raised.
Yep.
Yes.
Can we unmute George?
Yes, George Osarai.
Yeah, unmuted.
Yep.
Yes, George, welcome.
Unmute yourself, please.
George, can you speak?
Good evening. Are you hearing me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, His Excellency. It's such a great opportunity to be present in this meeting. I want to specifically thank the organizers of this meeting. You guys have done a laudable job. I have this question for the Excellency. I want to, first of all, commend your effort over the last 4 years for the good job that you have done as the first citizen of Edo State, especially in setting up the diaspora affairs as a part of the Ministry of Arts, Culture, Tourism, and with Commissioner Osaze Osemegero in charge of that ministry. The Honorable Commissioner did set up cultural ambassadors in many nations around the world, where a notable number of Edo resides, among which are Belgium, Mr. Friday Obasuyi, Germany, Barrister Efosa Ogiriaki, Ireland, Princess Bamigo Momo, and Italy, my humble self, Pastor George Osarai, United Kingdom, Comrade Joe Ehigiamusoy, Canada, Mrs. Isoken Ibie, and also in Canada, we have Dr. Henry Obomo. And over this period of time, we discovered that these ambassadors, Edo cultural ambassadors representing these nations on behalf of our noble state, Edo State, were not gazetted, and so their official functions were greatly limited. And we also noticed that in the process of time, our capacity to reach out to the Edos in our different nations was reduced. And so the representation of the diaspora in the affairs of the state was highly limited. So I'm asking if you have in your plans to make this laudable endeavor of your Honorable Commissioner much more active next tenure, so that the Edos around the world, like what is happening tonight, can be well coordinated and be able to meaningfully contribute to the development of our state and be proud to have a home that we can return back to
whenever necessary. This is my question, sir. God bless you.
Hello, Your Excellency. You can unmute yourself, sir. Hello, Your Excellency. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Charles, for that question. As a state, we are truly blessed with a huge, diversified, and prosperous diaspora like we have, particularly those of you in Europe, outside of Africa. And we, as a government, understand and appreciate not just the benefits, but the importance of the diaspora, particularly the economic importance. As you are aware, remittances inflow into Nigeria last year was the second was second to receipts from the sale of crude oil. I think it's on record that about $25 billion of remittances inflow came in. And with the dynamic and large diaspora we have, I believe that even if we took 10% of that inflow, $2.5 billion came into our local economy from all of you and those out there in the diaspora. That's 6 times my annual budget. So therefore, the diaspora matters. The diaspora is important. So what we are going to do is to layer on what we have done today to structure it better. We've seen how the diaspora has helped transform India, has helped transform China. So we as part of our plan, the 30-year development plan, we're just going to look at how to interact with the diaspora end to end. So it's not only just appointing people as cultural ambassadors, but ensuring that we make the investments in data, investments in technology, can act at home from the comforts of your homes or where you live, you currently reside. There's no reason why you cannot apply for your CFO from Italy or your certificate of occupancy, or pay your mortgages or pay your bills at home from where you are. So it's just beyond being just being cultural ambassadors. Yes, our culture is something we're very proud of, and that brings us together and sets us a glue. But we can do so much, much more, and we will do so much, much more because of the importance of the diaspora.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, My Excellency. I did notice that Omoife was in the room. I don't know, for whatever reason we couldn't get her. But Omoife, if you can, Omoife, site bearer, if you can unmute yourself, that would be highly appreciated. Can we locate Omoife, site bearer to?
Is it Omoife or Onorefe? There is Onoefe, not Omorefe.
Okay.
It's Onorefe.
Site bearer?
Yes, I have unmuted her, so she should be able to speak.
Okay, great.
Honorefe Sakwe, are you there?
Can you speak on Onorefe?
Yeah.
Yes? You need to unmute yourself.
I've done that.
Oh, that's good.
Your video is now on.
All right. I'm calling from Warri, Delta State. I am an Insan by birth. Your Excellency, thank you very much for the fantastic work so far. My question is this. In the wake of COVID-19 and its effect on our lives, on our businesses, and on SMEs, because I am an SME owner, I run a business. Is there any program by your administration to support businesses and employers of labor with respect to tax breaks? And if there is, how will the average market woman benefit from this, Your Excellency?
Okay, thank you very, very much. as a state that is very pro-business, we are currently looking at ways of supporting small businesses, either through tax breaks or incentives. I think what we've tried to do is to look at, and look at the entire chain. What really affects people the most? It is not the taxes per se. It is more the cost of doing business. The amount of money you spend on diesel is a fraction of the taxes you pay at the end of the day. So if I can help fix your cost of production, then the taxes will not, will not, be that burdensome. It becomes burdensome when you're not making as much as you could. When you cannot get your title documents easily, you can't get a CFO title documents for your properties. It makes it difficult to raise financing from the banks. So we believe that the first things to do is to fix those issues, to look at the chain and fix those things that don't even help people make money in the first place. You're not making enough money, so so focusing on taxes today is not addressing the real issue. And the real issue is, let us put in place things and support that will enable people do business easily. They can register their business quickly. They can, they have quick connectivity, online, and they're able to just get things done. Today, it's very, very hard for people to do things, to get businesses started and even sustain those businesses. I don't know if I answered your question to your satisfaction, but the point I'm making is that, yes, we're looking at taxes. People are not paying as much taxes anyway. It's only we keep going back to those who pay, but there are many more people. I mean, like 70% of people in business don't pay that much tax. Even if they do, we're restructuring to make sure that those taxes actually come to the coffers of government, because sometimes government does not see those taxes. So we're putting in place the technology and all the things we require to ensure that, it's only when I know what you're paying and how you're paying can I even reduce it. So, but if some agbero or some tout is going to tax you and collecting money in the name of government, then even if I reduced it officially, it's difficult to even collect it. Let me apologize. I see a few hands are up, but the organizers of this meeting have been very, very kind, and they have said, look, this is just the first in a series. We will have this over the next 5 weeks at the same time, and we will be able to take, I would suggest that we looked at certain specific areas of interest and concern to you. Unfortunately, I have to catch a flight at this point, and I, beg the organizers that I would love to leave and not, on before 8:30 Nigerian time. I see lots of hands are up. I see Linda, your hand is up. Alfonso, your hand is up. Yeah. Barry, your hand is up. So for me, let this be a teaser. And it will now make me know that, okay, next Saturday at 7 o'clock, you will be back here and to ask me those questions you haven't been able to ask today. And I promise you that I certainly will be prepared to answer them.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We must appreciate you for the time you've taken out. Just before Your Excellency leave us, I am dying to ask this. I have never seen, I don't know if anyone has, we've never really seen His Excellency speak Pidgin English. I don't know whether you sabi speak, sir.
I don't know now, because you know the Nigeria now. You don't see I just speak.
That's a good one.
When we go campaign, you go see how we dey yarn in Pidgin.
Correct. Nothing to My Excellency.
Correct.
Thank you so much, sir. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. I love all of you.
I must bring, just before My Excellency leave, I must bring on the the chief organizer of this program, a lady of substance, somebody that if you know her, you love her because of her personality. She's a great ambassador of the Edo Nation. She's one who is doing so much to elevate, the Edo Nation. She's not a person other than Dr. Loretta Ogboroko. Please, if she's there, can somebody unmute her so that she can just give us a parting word? Dr. Loretta, please.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and thank you very much to Edo people from across the world. Most importantly, I say thank you to the organizers. We could not have done it by ourselves each, but together we have pulled this off. From Australia to Tanzania, from Nigeria to the United Kingdom and to Canada. Time will not permit me to list the names, but please watch out next week, Saturday, by 7 p.m. Come and interact with your governor and the mega project. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edos and Nigerians. May you have a good night.
And you
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you, Excellency.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
All rise, all compatriots, Nigeria.